think everybody should be able to see my screen now. I'm going to welcome everybody to the MBoxWave webinar and like to thank NinjaTrader for hosting this webinar. Let me get my chat box up so I can see, if you guys have questions, I'll try to answer them as I go. All right, so let's just get on with it. I'm going to go to the first live, and that's called Welcome to Coronavirus. I've been getting a lot of emails lately. The markets have been very volatile in the last few weeks, and we've had these big sell-offs happening. And people always ask me, "Oh, hey, Mike, do your indicators, can they tell me what's going on?" Well, the MBoxWave Indicators, they track buying and selling in the markets, and in a word, when you read the chart, you can see what's going on. This is right here on the screen. I'm showing a daily chart of the S&P 500. And, we've been in a bull market for quite some time, with price steadily, going up, as we can see on the chart. We've got these nice signals here. That's part of the software package, these algorithmic signals. I'll get into them a little later. And right here at the peak, we've got interesting combination of signals going on. So I'm going to explain a little bit what this all means. And then I'll explain a little bit about my background. So first, looking at this chart, we're going to look at these waves going up and down. We see these small numbers, 357, big number 1585. So the big number signifies total volume. The small number signifies delta volume, which means the difference between buying and selling. And so the contracts are in the tens of thousands. So we've been going up here. And I'd like to point out, every time we have these double signals, this is a Stooges, isn't a pullback buy. The hashtag is a Stooges signal, which means selling exhaustion. Pullback buy, that's a bullish buy signal. Right where these signals are happening, we see in the MBox histogram, no supply. And I'll explain what this actually means. Next slide. We also see demand here in the cumulative delta. So we see demand here, no supply here, and the signals. Okay, we're good to go. We're taking a buy. The next dip here, we've got another double signal, no supply and demand. But what is happening by the time we get here? By the time we get to this single pullback, we have demand contracting here. We've got a big box to a smaller box to a tiny box, right? So that's our delta contracting. And we've got no demand in the cumulative delta right here. Right after that, we've got this triple algo. So triple algo in the MBox system means we've got two sell signals plus a sell imbalance. It's an upthrust sell signal, a Stooges sell signal, and a minus 10 sell imbalance, which means that there is more selling than buying while price is moving up. All right, so it's like hidden selling. So we had this massive triple algorithmic signal, and which agrees with the underlying analysis of the delta here and here, and then price came crashing down. Then on this correction, we had another Stooges sell, and then we came back crashing down again. All right, so a little bit about my background. I like to think about, becoming a successful trader is like finding your way through the jungle. There's so much garbage out there. You don't know what works and what doesn't. You don't know who to listen to, what to do, what works, what doesn't. And it can be a very frustrating experience. So I'm here today to share my story and how I see the markets. Just quickly, briefly, who I am. I'm an ex-Silicon Valley senior software engineer. I worked, for some of the big companies like Oracle and Sun Microsystems. And eventually I got into trading. I got tired of, the grind and the job in the valley. But little bit about who I am as a trader. I'm the sole creator, developer, and active trader of my own system. You know, there's a lot of vendors out there, they'll sell you something, they don't know how it works, they don't use it themselves. I'm pretty much a one-man operation. When you have questions, I'm the only person you deal with, whether they're technical in trading or whether you're having some software issues. Trading community knows me as MBoxMike. What is order flow? Order flow is tracking the buying and the selling that's happening in the market. We're trying to compare price with the order flow to gain insight, and it's exactly doing that that helps you get an edge over the markets. Now about why did I do this? Well, I did this because I didn't find any software that did what I wanted it to do, and so I started developing a set of tools to to be able to see the markets in a way that made sense. And buying and selling, supply and demand is very fundamental. And the issue is coming up with a set of indicators that show you how it all works. All right, so let's get to the next slide, the bloody bloodbath. I like to think about trading is like a boxing match. There's a lot of blood. There's always a winner and a loser. It's a zero-sum game. So briefly, how do the indicators show analysis? So why it's a boxing match? So this zigzag line coming up, that's a Gann swing, right? That's showing buying and selling waves along with the trend. Higher highs, higher lows, and lower highs, right? And we can see we're edging up in the markets. It's kind of showing how many rounds we've won. The MBox histogram here, you see these boxes correlate to the boxes on the chart, right? So that's showing you how much buying or selling is going on in each of these boxes, and that's a smaller interval than these waves. So in between the rounds, you can see the strength of the punches in these boxes. You've got the speed of the punches down here, which is the M pace. That's showing momentum. That's showing the speed of the offers and the speed of the bids. So when you've got a lot of buying and you've got momentum with it, it's a good indication price is probably going to rise, right? Then we've got the favorite, which shows the cumulative delta, shows accumulation and distribution, as we can see where we're climbing up here. And then we've got the knockout, which are the algorithmic buy sell signals, all right? And so we've got a pullback here, we've got a stooges here. So let's see what this chart looks like when it comes to life. All right, so now I'm going to put in and show my analysis of how I read the charts and how I look at the indicators to get useful information from them. So we can see that the cumulative buying is expanding here, going. We also see that the wave demand is growing, plus 1394 right here, plus 863 right here, plus 2064 right here. So that's also growing, right? We also see strong MBox demand. That's the MBox histogram, the strength of the punches. Look at all these punches. Meanwhile, we see no supply right here. We also see that wave supply is contracting, minus 268, minus 96, plus 156 right here. This is also a buy imbalance, right? So where we saw coronavirus, that sell-off, let me just show that briefly again. Right here, the minus 110, that's a sell imbalance because there's more selling on this up wave. Here we've got a buy imbalance. There's more buying on this down wave. So it makes you scratch your head what's going on. Plus we've got a Stooges buy signal. So these are your optimal entries. The signals are used for entries, right? And by the time we have this signal right here, we already saw strong demand, MBox demand here, and no supply. We also saw momentum of the offers in the M pace. right? And then price continued to climb as long as there was strong demand. And what's the first indication that something changes? First indication, well, some can say, well, okay, you've got this red box and now we're seeing some supply. Yeah, but if you've been riding this move up, you don't want to give back your profit, wait until this box closes. There are nuances that you can notice. For example, in the M pace here, you see this climactic bar up. And that's an excellent exit point. There are different exit strategies, and I'll talk about a few of them, but when you see a climax and you are in profits, that is a good exit point. You can also use previous levels of support resistance for exiting. You can use the technical analysis of the indicators, and you can use a concept of hitting your daily goal, meaning if you hit your certain target for the day, you would be done. All right, so let's move along since we don't have much time. By the way, this is a 1 minute chart. So I mostly day trade, so I'm showing these day trade charts, but for the coronavirus, I wanted to show long term how that looked like. So let's look again at the buy imbalance, right? This was on the NASDAQ. This was one of the, was a memorable trade I took. We have this large demand comes in right here, right? We get a Stooges buy signal, right? You could buy here, but that's not the best entry point. The best entry point would be here because it's even stronger. You see at this pullback right here, there's no supply in the MBox delta. Cumulative demand is shown consistent buying. We don't see a dip into selling. And we also see a huge pace on the offers, which sets off this big rally. So when we get to this Stooges buy signal and the plus 486 buy imbalance, we've already seen enough data. Plus we also see no supply, and we see a buy imbalance in the MBox delta right here. So because it's a red box, which means price moved down, but if it's above the zero line here, it means there was more buying. So on this wave, there was more buying, and in this box, there was more buying. So it's like, the wave is showing the round, the box is showing the punches. So in both the round and the punches, it's showing the buy imbalance. All right, so let's see, I've got a question here. Yes, I'm getting a question about swing trading. Yes, on lower time frame charts you get more noise, and on higher time frame charts you get less noise. So I prefer to day trade as I'm a day trader, but there are plenty of people also swing trading. Since on a larger time frame, the signal, it filters out noise, so everything looks even better. So we get in after this signal in buy imbalance. Here's our entry. It's a bar after this signal. We put a stop below the swing, and we set our target. Well, we just write it out until price goes against us. There are different strategies. I remember this trade, I wrote it out until price went against me, and then that was a huge profit. That was a huge day. So it was $860 profit per contract, and I was trading 10 contracts, so I was almost $9,000 in profits, and it was a risk reward of 4.65. I like to take trades that are 3 and higher risk reward. Sometimes I'll take less, if I see that it's going to be a shorter amount of time. And then shortly after that, look at this. We've got very weak demand, very weak supply, nothing interesting going on. So even if you didn't exit here, by the time you see this, you would exit. I've got a question. Will your software work okay with uptick, downtick data feeds? Yes. Let's go to the next slide. And if I can't answer all the questions, just email me. We've only got just a little bit left here. Effort, no result. Okay, so effort no result is when there's a lot of effort, buying or selling. So a lot of effort is spent with little result in price movement. All right. So this was on the S&P 500 1-minute chart. We had a spring buy signal come in initially. This wasn't the strongest signal. Personally, this is not where I would trade it. There are aggressive traders that would trade it, but I would trade until I see more evidence. So what do we see? We see this bullish bar come up. This is at the market open, 9:30. So we see the pace of the offers leading the way right away. All right. We also see this minus 77, which is a sell imbalance, but you have to look at this move is so strong up that despite the selling, price is going up, which tells me instead of something that would be a sell position, that this is an oversold area. If you look at the cumulative delta, we can see here that price is so oversold that it begins to go up even though there is selling. And we know this with this strong up bar here, and we've got the momentum of the offers. Then we see this huge wave demand here, 1697. So the plus 1697 shows strong demand. Price expands up and a higher high. So we've got length here, we've got a higher high, and here's where the effort no result comes in. Compare this to the minus 2420. Look at the length of the waves. This is 1697 plus. Look at that length up, and look at this length down on more effort spent here. Right? 2420. A lot more selling was spent than the buying that produced this movement, and we barely came down. This is effort no result. So despite all the selling, price barely came down. So we have also a pullback buy signal plus the effort no result. That indicates a strong entry. And then, we're writing out the trade, and then, we're looking at when we're going to exit, I'm always looking at, change in behavior. I'm looking at climaxes. Somebody can view this M pace here as a climax and exit here, right? I exited when I saw this change in behavior. Less demand on a higher high. You see we have plus 1813 compared to 3447. This is a higher high, less demand, right? So look at the MBox histogram. We see strong demand here and here, and then it's not so strong on the higher high. That indicates selling point. All right, let's get on with it. The news reports. News reports. I trade time to time. Because you've got to ask yourself the question: is it real supply, or is it just panic selling caused by a news report? I also hold the belief that true value of the markets are not defined by panic. I've got a question. Will NinjaTrader brokerage data work on your software? Yes, absolutely. NinjaTrader brokerage works very well, works perfectly with software. All right, so again, if I can't answer your questions, email me because I got to get on with it. All right, so Stooge's sell signal warns of crash. This is not a signal I traded, but it did warn. We've had a decrease in buying consecutively, and so here it was a 10 a.m. PMI report. All right, we came down here, bam. Look at the MBox delta here, right? Next, look at the next box here. It's a lower low. Supply dries up. It just went boom very quickly. Also, the pace of the bids dries up also. We get here, and then we see this +4 buy imbalance. Not only is it no buy imbalance, look at this. We went from minus 2,455 to +4. It evaporated. All the selling evaporated, and it evaporated very quickly. So this is a buy imbalance. It's also no supply pullback because there's no supply. Look, minus 24.55 plus 4, that's no supply. We would enter a long position here. Here we don't see strong demand here, but we don't need to, because, price is so oversold. By the time we get here, it begins to lift off without requiring that much effort, right? And then the demand does come in, and it shows here in the cumulative delta, all right? It wigwags here a bit, right? We see a signal here. This is not something we would sell because we don't see supply. And by the time we get to another buy signal here, right, we see no supply. Look at this. In the cumulative delta, absolutely no supply, right? This is where the add-on position would be. Well, this is how I traded this chart that day. I took the first trade here. I took the second trade here. And I wrote it out until price went against me. The wave went against me. But valid exit points could be, you could put your, exit point before right here, draw a horizontal right where price started coming down. That could also be your take profit level, right? And stops I placed, below this point and below this point. And when I got into this position, I raised my second stop here. All right. And so as you can see with the news report, if there's something panic going, panic selling, and it dries up very quickly, and then, you see no supply, buy imbalance, or buy signals, those are great opportunities to get in. I've got another question. Will the system work for other time frames? Yes, absolutely. I personally use the 1 minute chart. The tick charts work well. Volume charts work well. Renko charts. You can use what's comfortable for you. I like using 1 minute charts because I like to know when the candle will close. Another question. Does this work for Forex? Yes, it does work for Forex. You want your data feed to have historical tick data. What's the configuration I use for the Gann swing? Default. I don't change the settings. And with the Gann swing, you don't need to change the settings ever. Will it work with range bars? Yes, it will. What are the main instruments I trade? I trade S&P, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, Russell 2000, crude oil, and gold. All right, let's move on to the next slide. All right, so I want to talk about education and my live trades. So maybe some of you have seen I do live trades. I post them on my Twitter, on YouTube and then Twitter page. And, I like to show people how I trade the system, that I've got skin in the game. So the first thing you want to do is go to my site, and I want to show you how to subscribe to resources that are free. You want to sign up for the newsletter right here. Sign up for the MBoxWave newsletter trade of the day. Here, regularly, weekly, sometimes twice a week, I'll send out my trades, my analysis of how I traded certain things. You want to follow my trades on Twitter. Here you'll get a direct line of what I'm doing. Like I post the NinjaTrader webinar here. Yesterday I had a huge day. If you didn't see this video, it's worth watching. There were over 32,000 profits I made yesterday thanks to the market volatility. And so you can scroll down, and I've got charts here of analysis. I've got links to videos, and this is a great resource for learning how to use the product, right? I'm trading the system myself, so you can always ask me any questions you have. All right, So also, you can watch my live trade videos. I also post those on Twitter, but you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel here and click on subscribe, and then you'll see them. I've got a question. Why don't you, Mike, trade live in a trading room every day? Right. Well, if I had the time, I would. But, I do what I can. Wife and kids keep me busy a lot of the time. And whatever free time I have, I spend trading and trying to put more content online. I think, people need to also understand that as one person, my resources with time are not unlimited. And, maybe if I was a vendor with 10 people or so, then that would be realistic. But for the most part, I'm a one-man operation. All right, so what did I also want to talk about? So I showed how to subscribe to the live trades. I showed how to subscribe to my Twitter. So those are free resources, absolutely free. Okay, so let me talk about, the purchase page. So the purchase page, there's a couple of options. The best value is the grandfather package, which has all the indicators, all the signals, and it gives you grandfather status, which means you get lifetime updates on new indicators, signals, and features. Occasionally, periodically, I release new features. Last year I did quite a few things, and you can see all this. This is an actively developed platform. For example, if we go to NinjaTrader changelog, we can see what are the things that I've been doing: recompiling, changing some things, updating market analyzer integrations, fixing issues, releasing new indicators. It's all in this changelog, right? It's not a dead piece of software where you buy and you don't get support, right? And the grandfather status gives you, if I add new features to an indicator, you will get that as well. All right, so a couple questions here. What kind of instruction is provided with the grandfather package? Well, with the grandfather package, you will, the site, all right? Let's look at the site, right? The site, there's a wealth of information. All the indicators are explained. Each individual indicator is explained. If you want to know how the Gann swing works, click on the Gann swing. It's got the technical details, how it works, and examples. If you want to know how the cumulative delta works, again, here's an explanation. If you want to know how the M-pace indicator works, we've got an explanation, right? If you want to know how the signals work, click on the signals, and each signal is explained. Okay, the Three Stooges signal is explained how it works. All right, I've got sample strategies here. All right, most of the strategies are now on Twitter, but there's a couple here that I have here. We've got learning material. Go through, YouTube videos, Facebook page, Twitter page. Okay, reviews. This is, I get a lot of praise and positive comments. People writing me that, have used the indicators and it's shed light on their trading. So another question, how well does this work for overnight swing trades? So all the concepts of supply and demand, accumulation, distribution, imbalances, they work on all time frames. I get asked this question a lot, and sometimes it puzzles me why people ask the question, because it's just a different time frame, but supply and demand is always at work. On a higher time frame, things move slower. On a lower time frame, things move faster. That's the difference. For me, I'm a day trader. There are plenty of people that do swing trading, and there are other people that do position trading and long-term trading. and are using the MBoxWave tools to do that. So I'm asking, do I have a strategy on my entries? Many times I enter and take immediate heat and small stops. Is there a proper way to enter with minimal heat? Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm looking for the strongest setups, right? When I talked about this chart, the buy imbalance, I said there was a buy signal here, but that's not, I wouldn't trade it, right? Because this is much stronger. At this point, we have a buy imbalance plus a signal, plus we had pace of offers. The first signal, we didn't see the pace of offers yet. And we had the buy imbalance in the MBox delta. You know, what you want to do is you want to wait until the setup is strong. Again, for this effort no result, we had the spring signal here. I would not trade that signal. I would wait until I see something extremely strong. This effort no result and the pullback buy signal. You know, a lot of time people are entering on marginal setups that are not very strong. You know, and if you look at my Twitter page and watch my live trade videos, I have strategies for determining you know, which direction the market's going to go that day. You know, I have in the videos comparing, you know, the selling or buying to the previous trading day or days. Is it easy to use in real time? I'm being asked. Screenshots show after the fact. Yes, please watch my live trade videos for that. You're right, screenshots are easy, so please watch the live trade videos I have on the YouTube channel here. Does the software look at actual market depth level 2 data? It looks at the historical tick data. That's what it looks at. What else do we have? Analyzing every box will make you overtrade. How to avoid it? Well, yes. I mean, that's why we're not analyzing. You know, I'm not analyzing every. I mean, I'm watching it, but I'm waiting for signals to tell me where to enter. You know, on this chart, I see only 2 signals. You know, on this chart, I see these 2 signals here and these 2 signals here, right? So, how to not overtrade? What I'm doing is I'm waiting to see strong analysis in the indicators, and then I'm watching for an algorithmic buy or sell signal to actually get in. The signals, they print in real time. They print as the wave is updated. That's how they work. I'm being asked, is VWAP part of your methodology? There are traders that add VWAP to the charts. I personally don't use it, but Matt does use it in the room. There are traders that use it. Not everybody will trade exactly the same, right? Some people take the indicators and add an extra one here, an extra one there. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. Is there a way to backtest the strategy using NinjaTrader? Look, on the website, if you go to NinjaTrader, I also have an API guide here. You know, you can write custom strategies here, and I give sample code on how to do that. So there's a wealth of information on the website. NinjaTrader has a market replay function that you can use. And that's when you know, you can program your custom strategies. All right, so not sure. I think we're running out of time. What should we expect after a purchase? What you'll expect is you'll get continued education from me. If you just get the grandfather package, you'll get my live trades and you'll get my my Twitter posts and, you know, how I took my trades. If you get the room access, you'll get everything I provide, plus everything the room will provide, and an additional point of contact. You'll have two professional, profitable traders at your disposal for any questions you may have. What are the really large numbers at the end of each box? Well, the large number here is total volume. The small one is delta volume. The delta volume is more significant than the total volume because it shows you the difference between the buying and the selling. At what bar after swing completion does it generate the signal? Signals are generated real time, okay? And this bar, this is generated right here on this bar right here, okay? And that's why I took the entry right here. The signals are drawn with the Gann swing. All right. So the rules for the Gann swing can be seen. You can read about that here. The technical details, how that works. Are all the trades always buy trades? No, absolutely not. You can watch my live trade videos and see that I take plenty of short trades. I guess with this webinar, just those examples I showed. Well, no, if you look at the coronavirus here, we saw the triple algo sell-off here. So I think that's all the time we have. If you, yeah, sure. Yes, and you know, like I said, if I wasn't able to answer questions people had, just please email me. You can do that on the web page. You go to the contact right here. You know, send me a message, and I'll get back to you. So thanks everybody for listening, and I'll hand it back off to NinjaTrader. All right.